and I got a guest today, a unique guest because she has a unique, special twist to the way she does screenwriting and the way she does filmmaking. And just to tell you a little backstory, I interviewed her before. I'm a truth teller. And for some reason, my phone completely crashed, and I had a great interview there. But this one's going to be better, and this one will be something that you want to get your notes. It's going to inspire you, and your notes you want to keep. So make sure you save them on your hard drive and don't lose your stuff. Because I save a lot of my stuff on hard drives now because I don't want to lose anything I
Yeah.
got. So the next voice you're going to hear will be from this lovely lady here, and she's going to tell you about herself and what she has going on in her filmmaking world.
Hi, I am Mackleen Desravines, right?
Love
Oh, of
that
course,
name.
right.
Yes.
The character,
The
right?
character.
Right. Everybody calls me, at least on set, they just call me Mac, but close friends call me Mac. But yeah, I am Mackleen.
Yeah. Okay, and I know your name has is buzzing around Atlanta because I've heard people in some small chat rooms about some of the things that you've done and your film festival film. So, first question is, tell us about that film that you have in the film festival circuit right now.
So I've got two.
Oh,
One is the one that's probably getting the most nominations is called Last Phone Call. That was actually based on a true story about
okay.
myself and losing my mother.
Hmm.
And the second one is called Chris Isn't Crazy. It's loosely based off of people that I know about a friend of ours who was suffering with schizophrenia when we were in college.
Okay.
And just kind of like about a group of friends who are noticing their friend changing and then realizing it's all out of their realm to be able to help him. But it took
Okay.
him hitting rock bottom and putting their lives in danger for them to realize we can't help him. He needs professional help.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. So that's
Well,
the one
that's
that recently got nominated. And then the other one's getting quite a bit of nominations, which is it's actually in both English and Haitian Creole.
oh, so Haitian is in your background. Is
Yes.
that
Both of my
okay?
parents are from Haiti and from the States, obviously.
All right. Have you ever been to Haiti?
I have when I was younger. I have. I haven't
Okay.
been there for a while, obviously, but
Okay.
yeah. I went there twice when I was a kid, like when I was in high school and also middle school. I haven't been since. So
Okay. Okay. So, based off characters, we want to talk about characters, some that you have created and some that inspired you. So, can you tell us a little bit more about a unique character that you have created in your filmmaking?
so the my feature, which is called Smoke, that's the one that really kind of I want to say put me out there.
Yeah.
Um Smoke, it was about it was about it's based also based off a true story, but the character that I think is most unique was the two. There was the attorneys that it was about. One of them was Natasha Marshall, played by Reese Odom. The other one was by Blue Kimball, which is Joe Tucker. Now, those are not based off of true people; like they were completely made up. And when I thought about their characters, I thought about the backgrounds of people because when I look at stories, I'm one of those people who like cheers for the villain. And
All
and
right.
I wanna know why the villain became a villain, like, how did you get there? And so those lawyers in the movie Smoke, I'm like, what makes someone wanna be a lawyer other than, wanting to make a lot of money? But,
Yeah.
I thought to myself when it came to Natasha Marshall, like, what was her background? And I remember when I was drafting it and, like, I break down characters, how they grew up, what their favorite color is, did they have a lot of friends, were they lonely kids,
Mhm.
how was their communication with their parents and things like that. So when I was when I was talking about like building the character of like Natasha Marshall,
Mhm.
I remember I was talking to the actress Reese Odom, and I was just like, "This is who she is. She doesn't come from a background that was easy. The reason
Okay.
why she wants to um, fight for justice is because she grew up in an abusive household to the point
Mhm.
where she had to watch her mother abuse her and then wish somebody would be able to save her. So a big part of her that wants to help people is because it's like saving them would be like someone who would have she wished someone saved her. Now, for the other character, which was played by Blue Kimbo, Joe Tucker, his brother was always getting locked up and he felt
Okay.
like no one was helping him. So he became an attorney because he wanted to be able to help people who a defense attorney that can't get the right representation, that
Mhm.
needs someone to defend them. They're the villain, right? And
Right.
everybody looks at the villain as someone that's not good and they deserve all kinds of stuff. But he's looking at it as, you know, everybody has a backstory. So when I was drafting these characters, I needed to understand what motivated them, what drove them, because
Hmm.
they're completely fictional, regardless about how much Smoke is based on a true story. Those are like I think the only two people that were not based on a true person that I knew or read about.
Okay.
Mm,
Well, that's starts me on a question I had in my head, and I just figured it out just a second ago.
yeah.
All right, so when I was in writing class, they talked about how a lot of you or a little of you will be in some of your characters.
Oh yeah.
So is Natasha? Is there a little of you in their character?
My sister said, "I bet you that's you." The thing is like my background and Tasha's background are so different, but seeing fairness is where we both are. However, you probably see me more in Joe Tucker because again,
Mm,
I root for the villain. Now, if somebody murdered my family, I'm not going to be nobody's Joe Tucker. I probably would act like Natasha. I'm going to see to it. The stubbornness in her
okay.
it's something I think I see in a lot of people, but if I were to relate to anyone, it probably would be Joe Tucker. He's so petty. And but I think I see Natasha in a lot of people that I know
Okay.
because it's just like she is adamant about this is what we need to do. We cannot let this slide. Like when you hear the story about Smoke, it's about a guy that went to prison for murdering his family. He gets out of jail like 15 years later and does it again. And she's like,
Mm,
like this time we're settling it. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. This is ridiculous, which is sensible, but she takes an emotional toll on it, emotional pull on it. You know what I mean? And that character is one I've seen quite a bit. I think in writing, particularly when I was an undergrad, um, and I wanted to be a novelist at the time. Um, but I think I saw myself in a lot of characters. I had to learn to pull out of that
okay.
because it was too much, and then now the voices started to sound the same. But I had to learn to break down characters and figure out who they are and get to know them before even drafting. So now in script writing, I spend a lot of time understanding the characters a lot more, so it's not too much of me because
Okay.
and all of them will end up having the same voice, same attitude, same person, and like 12 different people.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So I want to get into something here. We're gonna kind of mix some actors and screenwriters and filmmakers here. So I'm gonna ask you a question,
Yeah.
and I want you to choose one of the two things. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So if you had to pick, if you had to pick one movie to take a character from to utilize it for your um, own movie, what character would that be
Wait. So if I had to pick a character from another film
from another film?
and put it in my own,
Yes.
okay, so I was just talking about this character the other day. So I'm a big fan of Mara Akil, and
Mm,
um, girlfriends, being Mary Jane, the game. I talked about how much in Being Mary Jane, Gabrielle Union's character made me cringe. I felt like she was telling the secrets of all the Black women and was outing us all about how we feel. If I could take her and put her in something, it would be her because she was so freaking bold, cringe. Just, I think I'd watch that show just like drinking my glass of wine, just like, why is she doing this? I wanted to strangle. But I was like, I wish I could put her in something like that
okay.
character because she's so bold, you know what I mean? Unapologetic and strong. And then
Mm,
also vulnerable. Because there was a scene where she's like, making love to a man, watching him say making love because they were just hooking up. And then she literally tells the man, like, make love to me, tell me you love me, even if you don't mean it. I need to feel it right now. I
Hmm.
don't know if I could dare, probably because of my ego, but tell a man like, tell me
Yeah,
you, even if you don't mean it. I just need to hear somebody tell me they love me today. Like that's so deep.
yeah.
Like the layers of being Mary and be the character Mary Jane was just, whew, yeah.
Okay,
It'd be her. It'd be her. I
great
literally
answer.
talked about that character the other day. Not even Gabrielle Union. She did an amazing job playing her, but like that character, oh man,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, all right. You answered that great. That was a great question. I feel like a good question. I feel like it was a great answer. So I'm gonna see if you can do what you can do with this one. What movie would you like to rewrite?
So you know, you gonna put me on the spot. Rewrite that I
Yes,
liked or didn't like.
either.
So many I didn't like. Um, dang, I would rewrite. That's a good question. Uh,
All right, let me see if I can help you here. This is what I would like to rewrite, and I know it was a funny classic movie, and it had obviously the characters were white, but I want to change to the black characters. And I'm thinking Talladega Nights. I like to laugh, and I was thinking of putting black characters and having black race car drivers in those scenes. So I was thinking something like that. So what do you think?
but now that's actually very creative. That's actually really creative to switch out the characters. Um, I'm trying to think what have I recently watched. I've been watching a lot of documentaries and I watch a lot of TV shows. Now movies. Oh man, I gotta think about that. What did trying to think what I recently watched? Oh, I gotta get back to you that one because I have to think this
Okay.
one through. Yeah, TV
All
shows is a
right,
lot easier, but I'm like, when's the last time I watched a movie? I
let's
saw
go.
Bad Boys 3.
Let's go TV show. Let's go TV show.
If I were to rewrite Girlfriends. Oh, once again, Mara Bucket Kill.
Uh-huh.
No, you know what it would be? It's the Sex and the City movie, the first one. If I were to
Mm.
rewrite that one, I would change the ending. I would never have her, spoiler alert, marry the guy that stood her up at the altar that dragged her in a relationship for like 10 years. Who in their right mind would just, he left you at the altar? Like, are you crazy? You crazy? And he played you. He married somebody else before. Like, girl, he made you a side piece at one point. Like this whole thing. Sex and the City, it's been like really criticized a lot on YouTube lately, but now I see why. I mean, of course I see why. But the whole thing and then the spinoff now is just a wreck that I will obviously watch. But that movie, if I were to rewrite that one, I would change the ending. I would just, yeah, I would change so much in that movie. It was ridiculous.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So got a question here, and this is about actors. I want you to pick one of them, and we're gonna go with Gabrielle Union or Shania Lathan.
You know, if this interview gets pulled up one day and one of them gets mad at me, it's on you, okay?
Hey,
If I
bring it
had
on. I
I'm
understand.
going with Gabrielle Union, and let me explain why. Because, like I said, I've seen her in so many different roles, and I've seen Sanaa Lathan in so many different roles, and I think Gabrielle Union has more flexibility into being all kind of like characters. With Sanaa
Okay.
Lathan, I think that it's not that she's like kind of typecasted like one type of role, but then I can't picture her funny.
Hmm.
You know, I can
Hmm.
see Gabrielle Union as funny. I
Okay.
always see Sanaa Lathan as kind of serious, a bit intense, but that's about it.
Hmm.
Gabrielle Union, I've seen all kind of layers, funny, dramatic, sad, happy, like so much. Sanaa Lathan, I've seen her be kind of similar in a majority of the roles. I swear if this is brought up later on, it's on you. But,
Well, you're
that's
gonna hate me on the next one. It's gonna get worse. I'm sorry.
but yeah, it'd be
Okay.
Gabrielle Union.
Okay, we'll go with Gabby. All right. because she's a great actress. I know that.
Yeah.
They both are. But here's another one: Taraji P Henson or Kerry Washington.
Don't do this. Don't do this. That is impossible. What? That is impossible. No, I
No,
will
it's
not
not.
answer that because that is
I don't have alcohol that you can take the shot or whatever. You
impossible.
can say pass, or you can say let's call it a draw. We can go with draw if you want to.
The thing is they are both like I was talking about the curious case of Benjamin Button the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Taraji like killed that role so well. Like, and I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
talking about like there's Empire and then there's Scandal, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, like those they're big TV shows, but it's like, do y'all remember um do y'all remember Taraji and Benjamin Button? Like she was like so incredible. She should have won an Oscar for that role. Like real talk. She was so amazing from the beginning of the film, how she took on like an infant that looked like a monster and took care of
Mm-hmm.
her, worked at the nurse. I mean, her character grew throughout the movie, along with um, what's his name? Oh crap. Of course, I can't remember his name right now. With the lead, which is
Uh,
Brad Pitt.
Brad
Um,
Pitt.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then you look at Kerry Washington. She is Kerry Washington.
Yeah.
Like, there's no comparison. Like, it's like if I had to choose, I mean, I'm a big Taraji fan. But I'm also a Kerry Washington fan. No, I'm passing. This ain't gonna come back and
You
bite me.
gonna pay attention?
I can't do it because I'm like, Taraji's layers blow my mind.
Mm,
It blows my mind because she can be in a Tyler Perry movie and then she can be in other roles, and I don't see her.
okay.
Kerry Washington, I don't see her. Like, for example, Denzel Washington, I see him because he's such a big actor. When I'm watching a
Okay.
movie, I see Denzel. Sometimes I don't even see that, like the character, because we've seen him so many times. I forget whenever I'm watching either one of these women that this is a major like movie star, a major actress. I'm passing now because this will not bite me in the ass later on.
Oh, all right. I got one more, and you're not gonna like me after this one. I'm sorry. All right. Ava DuVernay or Shonda Rhimes.
I'm not doing it with you, okay? I'm not playing. First of all, um,
I'm a troublemaker. That's what.
well, I'm gonna explain this. So I'm learning because I actually took not Ava DuVernay, Shonda Rhimes's master class
Okay.
on screenplay writing and TV writing, stuff like that. Like I think that writing wise, Shonda Rhimes is a beast. I
Mm,
consider myself quite beastly because I've studied writing since I was a little girl. Like I've been writing short stories since I was as early as I knew how to write. I went to school for it twice. You know what I mean? I've taken other classes. Like I've studied writing so hard. I can break down character development, story building, background, storyboard, you name it, I can do it. Um, Shonda Rhimes is like the only one that I can never predict. Like,
mm,
I can't predict her style. Like, I took her class because I was like, I've this is the level of writing I want to be, and I can say that I'm not there. I
okay.
confidently tell you, I could probably beast outright 80% of the writers out there. Like, I say that
I like
confidently.
that. I like that. Yeah. You should
Um,
be. You should feel like that.
I do because I work really hard on drafts, and sometimes like I go back to my other stuff and I cringe like, oh, this is trash. But because I continue to study it. Shonda Rhimes, I cannot hold a pen to this woman
Okay.
because her level of writing always blows me away. There's no same story. Every single character is so specific and individual. She thinks it through. Like when I told you sometimes like you have to pull yourself out of the characters because you don't want yourself multiplied 15 different times in
Okay.
the story. I know that she doesn't do that. I know that she understands what the purpose of every single character is. From all the shows that I've watched of hers, her masterclass, and even just kind of studying the things that she's written from, particularly for television, um, it's very clear that I have a long way to go. Now, with Ava DuVernay, her style is so different directing wise. Like I am still a newer director. I
Okay.
cannot be 80% of no one. Okay. Like good directing wise, I'm still fairly new at it. And then I study how a lot of like the background stuff that she does.
Okay.
When she did this TV series on Netflix, the shoot. With the this is based on a true story as well, with the young men that were accused of raping that woman is called
The something five or something like that.
Park 5 movie, that one.
Yeah.
Um, like, the way she told that story and, like, and the fact that she used one whole episode based off of one character that was not one person that was locked up the longest. It's like, the way she told the story, like, you get so engulfed in it, it's gut-wrenchingly scary. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And then you see she can do, like, happy movies and, like, cartoon like, kid stuff, and, like, she's so like this just like versatile. Like, you know what I mean? Like she's just so different, everything. Like I can learn a lot from that. I can't, it's tough to choose because they're so different.
Okay.
I am very much of a more of a dramatic writer. I can write comedy, obviously. It's fun, but it always ends up being dark. Sorry. I try.
Okay.
But Abe can do it all, like from any type of movie. And Shonda Rhimes is definitely heavy on the drama, you know what I mean? And I think that's where I probably mimic the most. But
Okay.
directing wise, I have a lot to learn because when I see how Shonda Rhimes directs and I watch like behind the scenes of her connecting with actors and getting them to pull certain characters out, they're so different. So it's hard to choose. I'm opting out because it's hard to choose. Now, study wise, who am I more like or try to be?
Hmm.
Probably Shonda Rhimes.
Okay.
Direct wise, I'm just not there yet. I still have some ways to go. So if I had to choose, I'm going with Shonda.
Go, Sean. Okay. All right. Nothing wrong with that.
But that don't mean I don't love me no Ava, okay? Because I'm
I'm
just
putting it down that you like Shonda Rhimes better. So yeah, it's already on film. It's already on recorded. So it's gonna get out there one day. They'll see it, and then she'll address you once you become famous. So,
great.
all right. So I want you to go back in your mind and think about everybody has a story
Mhm.
that they probably have on their hard drive or in their drawer that they haven't put out yet. They're not finished with it yet. This is your opportunity to do your elevator pitch. Can you do your elevator pitch on a story that no one's read yet?
Let's see. See, what's some still my idea?
Well, it's an elevator pitch, so it's you're not gonna give that much, are you? Well, okay, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this.
I'll
Try to pitch it, but don't you know give up too much.
go too much. Let me see, because I've got a lot of different stories on my
Okay.
drive.
All right.
But
Let me do this. Let me do this. I don't want you to because I do not want someone to take your product. Elevator pitch one of your stories that you already have done.
okay. Let's see. I can do the last phone call,
Okay.
right? So it'd be a woman who is letting go of her. No, I'm sorry. I hate elevated bitches. Young woman who is in the process of no, okay. Let me start over. Okay. I just got on
Okay.
the elevator. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Um, young woman who is accepting the fact that her mother is dying and is reminiscing on the past phone calls that she had with her mother prior to the day of her funeral. Oh no, let me do this over. On the day of her mother's funeral, a woman recalls the last phone calls that she had with her mother who was dying of dementia. I don't even know if that
That's
sounds
it. That's
interesting.
good. That's good. I was always taught if you can't write it on a sticky note, then it's too long. You need to make it shorter. That's
Yeah.
why I was always taught. I didn't know that until I actually got drilled on it.
My
Okay.
graduate school professor told me because he worked for a bunch of different studios, particularly for Disney, and he said, "You have 5 seconds to get their attention."
Mm,
He said, "Because if it's like you have, because people's attention spans are so quick, as you can see, like that's why they be trying to ban TikTok because it's like people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter." So he said, "You have 5 seconds to get their attention." So that's why I said on the day of her mother's funeral. So it's like like that would catch someone's attention, I hope. Um,
Okay.
to a young woman recalls last phone calls that she had with her mother who was suffering from dementia. Boom. That's the
Okay.
pitch, right? And but it's like if I and then also do it in a mirror. Like look at yourself dead smack in the mirror when you're doing this pitch. And it is the first and then they also say record yourself. How confident do you sound? What does your delivery sound like?
Mm,
Um, when you record yourself while you're looking at yourself, like, are you convincing? Because you gotta think about it. If somebody is interested in buying your idea from you and you look worried, they're gonna like, okay, so if you don't think this will sell, why would somebody else listen to it?
okay.
Mm.
I agree. I like that. That's a good idea. I have to think about that. I might have to write that down. Actually, remember this when I watch this again. And I was like, I got to write that down. Learn something.
Yeah.
Okay. How can somebody that wants to act try to audition for one of your films? How can they get in touch with
Oh, you just the thing is, it's like I appreciate actors reaching out, sending me their headshots and stuff, but it all that gets forgotten because if I'm not working on something, then I just have your headshot and it's in an email that gets pushed down.
you?
So
Okay.
if I announce I'm casting, then the best way to get in touch with me is to literally send in your headshot because I use like Actors Access and stuff like that.
Okay.
I go through there. And then of course you can always shoot me an email, but it should be when you know I'm casting. If I'm not casting, then I can really do with it right then and there. And then it just again it gets pushed down because I get so many emails, different projects, different things. So it's easier for me to forget. But if I'm like, hey, I'm casting for such and such, shoot me the email there or just go through the process where you click on submit your headshot in your reels on Actors Access or Backstage. That's usually one of the two that I use because then I'm guaranteed to see because my producers and I we go through everything just to make sure that we're not missing out on any talent. Sometimes I think it was a role we were shooting for a pilot. I was so overwhelmed. We had like over I think almost 2,000 people to go through and while that might seem like a lot, we're gonna go through because then I don't want to miss the person that we need. Versus if he had sent me something 3 months before, I'm on this website,
Okay.
looking at reels, looking at headshots, and what impressed me is a professional headshot and a reel, so I can see how you even act. Not everybody has a reel, and I understand that. And sometimes all they have is a headshot, but when you, yeah, think about just general auditions, period. People
Okay.
send again. If I'm getting 2,000, you got to stick out, right? How do you stick
Right.
out? Half the time people don't have reels, and the other half don't even have headshots. Or if they do, it's a selfie they took on their phone, and that's
So
what.
no selfies on no
No,
selfies. Right?
I don't want to hate on that because my headshot currently is a selfie, but I'm talking about like with like you're at a restaurant.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Folks walking around in the back there.
Like I
The
wouldn't
lighting's not right.
right. I wouldn't use this interview as a headshot. It's too distracting.
Oh, okay. With the background going on with your pictures and everything back there.
Background is one thing, but it's just like sometimes people just take random selfies. Like you can be in a classroom, you could be outside randomly. It's just too distracting. A selfie is supposed to literally give the person a point of view of like a point of view of what you actually look like. Can they see you in this role? If there's all this
Okay.
other stuff in the background that's distracting them,
Okay.
yeah. And how would
Oh,
you look for a particular role? And not all, you know what I mean? Some people said multiple headshots, that's cool, but like watch out for them selfies, man.
I can dig that.
Yeah.
All right. Here's your opportunity to ask me one question.
So when you're drafting your stories, right? And we talk a lot about characters. How much time do you spend on the antagonist?
I
Because
don't. I be drunk, so I be. No, I'm kidding. No. Yeah, I be drunk, so I be writing. I be throwing papers away like old boy from Five Heartbeats while he's his sister's sweeping and all that. So I just go no, but no. All seriousness, how much do I spend on antagonists? I
Mhm,
don't. I think it's an organic reach. So if
mhm,
I got a character as a bank robber, I kind of know what a bank robber is. Now I just go at it. Then I just I put the bank robber in the middle, and then I think about what things that can attack him or her, and
I
then I just feed into it. It depends on if I'm writing a thriller or I'm
mhm,
writing a drama. A
yeah,
thriller, you want to go right in there with the character. He's got the mask on. He's got the gun cocked. He got the cars going in there, but a police officer drives by him, and he gets a little nervous. He almost pees his pants, but the police officer keeps going by, so he decides he goes to the bank. He gets to the bank teller, and then he sees he has his mask on. His partners are in the side holding people, hostage, and then he sees the love of his life working a part-time job there on Saturday, and he didn't know. So what he actually just gave up my part of my story. All
so
right, but you know what I'm saying? I just put them right.
so it's just like you basically let it happen organically.
That's
Okay.
how I don't do a lot of just putting the character and spending a whole draft on the character because I feel like people want things faster and more organic, and I feel like I write better that way than sitting to have a pre-planned character, and I feel like it's slow and it makes me fall asleep. And I guess I don't want to be bored.
That's how I do it.
Well, I tell you, but you can't. Like if I'm writing a drama, then that's a little different
You might have
because
a point.
it's
Yeah.
a slower approach. So
I see what you're saying. Yeah, because you might have a point because if it's like if you're writing a comedy, like you which I'm not big on like I don't want to say that because I am working on like a comedic television pitch. so and I do know, but I think you're right. I think I agree with you on that one because sometimes characters that I didn't even think of initially, they pop up, and I don't spend a bunch of background information on them. They're just like organically in the story, and they just work. So
yeah,
I agree with you on that. So and then you might have a point because I think sometimes some characters just kind of show up, and it's like there's not quote unquote time to overdo thinking about what they're thinking, what they're doing, that type of stuff. Um, they're in there and then it just works. Their dialogue works, their characterization works. Yeah, I see
I,
that.
I mean, I just think about Empire. I really didn't finish all of it. I watched a ton of it, but the character of Taraji P was Cookie.
Cooking.
I mean, if you don't remember anything, you gonna remember Boo Boo Kitty. Straight in there, she gets out of prison. She wants her money. She sees this light skinned woman in there with her man that she was coming up with, and she comes up with a pop name. And I think people remember that more so than if it was kind of if you turn that into a drama, it wouldn't be very good. I don't think Empire would be that good. I think because it was more of an action thriller,
Mm,
dramatic action thriller, which made it better.
I
That's
see. Okay. Yeah.
all right. Well,
Okay.
I got one more question for you.
Hmm.
Um, what's next for you?
Documentary.
Oh,
I
I
had.
never did this. Yeah.
I've been studying documentary. I did a short one this summer. It was about these group of people who wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day to pray. And they met on Clubhouse during the pandemic. And then so once a year they meet up in person and they pray together in person. But outside of that, they will just pray every single day at 3 o'clock in the morning. They call it the fourth watch. And they explained like what the fourth watch was about, like that's the spiritual hour. Some people call it the witching hour. It's between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning where you wake up in the middle of the night and you pray, you meditate, you whatever you do at 3 o'clock in the morning between the hours of 3 and 6. And that was like around the time that Jesus was snatched up while he was praying in the garden, and then his
Okay.
apostles kept falling asleep. He's like, yo, you can't give me an hour. And so they spend a lot of time they spend the hours between 3 and 6. They'll wake up and then they'll pray. I was interested in this because I had a gig to shoot an event in Florida. And
Yeah.
so I went down to Florida and then they told me what it was. Like they were all meeting up in person. So I was just like, y'all are meeting up. They had like this, what they call, I think, a spiritual gathering. Um, but that was the event that, my production company just recorded for them. But then when I learned about the background about them waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I've been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I cannot go to sleep till after 6. So they're like, oh, well, then that's because it's time for your fourth watch. I was like, my fourth what? Like, what is
Yeah.
that? And I know those are spiritual hours. Um, so I did a short document on them. And so now I'm working on a health documentary.
Okay.
So it's just kind of tightening up some funding stuff, and I'll go into more detail on that once contracts are signed.
Mm.
But that is what's up next to me is a major feature length documentary.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Another question here before, I guess you're a great interview. You should interview a lot. You should interview more people in Atlanta, all around. You should interview with this lady. I think she's very well spoken. She knows what she's talking about. And I just think that her delivery when she answers the questions should be heard. It's very good.
It's because my background. I was a professor for like 16 years, so I know how to answer questions.
That's it. That is definitely it. So I didn't know that, but okay. Okay. All right. So what was I going to ask you? Too? um. So if we're talking about the next film project,
Mhm.
like I think sometimes people look at film projects and being, oh, I gotta have all this money and I gotta have all this equipment or whatever. So what do you what would you recommend for a first time filmmaker? What they should do to create their first film? Let's call it. Let's give it a short, not a feature, but a short.
A short. I always tell people, they ask me because of the two films I have out now that are in film festivals, they're doing well, but they're all both of them are shorts. Um, Keep it simple. One thing I've learned, um it's very competitive in the film festival categories. So if you're doing
Hmm.
horror, if you're doing horror, you're probably good, and particularly for African Americans. I always say go for that. There's way less competition. But like comedies and dramas and yeah, comedies and dramas are so competitive, and because it's easier to shoot a short than a feature. Um, you've got to be unique and do not overdo it. Shorts,
Okay.
unless you've got the right budget, should probably not go over 15 minutes. That
Mm.
film festivals, they categorize it from 10 minutes and under, and then 20 minutes and under. And at that 20 minutes and under, you should probably not try not to go over 20 minutes. Try not to go over even 15 minutes. I think sometimes people think short, I can do 30 minutes. You can. It's very rare that a 30-minute short goes very far. There's a really
Okay.
great one with Joey Badass on Netflix. It's about this guy who gets killed by a cop over and over and over again. It's really good. I can't think of the name right now, but
Mm.
Joey Badass, he has an amazing short that has a big budget. We talking major executive producers. They can do that for 30 minutes. New filmmaker that's coming out. Think about one day. Like I'll even throw one out. I was gonna do a short about a cat's funeral. Okay, it's about
Okay.
this guy that was gonna break up with his girlfriend, but her cat died, and she has this funeral for the cat. And that
Wow.
one, we shoot it in my house, put some chairs in the backyard, have different actors there, and that's one location, right? You
Okay.
don't have to worry about going to several different places. That does require a lot of extras, so just FYI. But it can literally be, you can get your friends and family to just be extras and tell them not to be extra because they'll be extra. But like try to keep the cast small. Um so then you're not paying for a lot of actors, not paying for a lot of location, and one or two cameras is good. I always say invest in sound. I don't care how much the sound person costs. Try not to shoot for over 3 days because it can
Okay.
become costly. But if you can keep the locations very limited, you should be good. And the last phone call, while it was shot in one day, my crew had 4 people. It was a passion project. So I had a sound person, camera person, a PA, and a gaffer, and me. Like that was it. I cried the whole movie, by the way. The
Okay.
actors had to console me, but because it was a really emotional movie. But the crew was super tiny, and it was shot in my bedroom. Now
Mm.
it was different scenes, but different parts of the bedroom. I didn't
Okay.
have to pay for location. I paid for one actor technically I paid for multiple because the whole thing took place of her talking on the phone, and it was just one person, but everybody else was voice actors.
Okay.
I paid a voice actor to play her mom, and then I just had a couple of friend actors of mine just do the some of the conversations that they had. So when it came to even that, it was kept it simple. One location. For Christmas and Crazy, I think we had 3 or 4 locations. One of them was ridiculous. It was a $2,000, but I got a grant for that film. That's why I would not advise anybody to spend too much money, but the grant paid for the short film, and I
Okay.
was a sponsor as well. So again, that film in itself cost just under $10,000. That's a lot. For a brand new film, for a new filmmaker, try to keep the location small, utilize your networks, invest in sound. And somebody says they can do sound. No, find a sound person. Like if you do anything else, find a sound person and a decent camera guy, that will not have your shots out of focus because they'll throw you right out of there at the film festivals. But keep it short and simple, and you can tell a really good story in limited locations, limited actors. There's
Okay.
another short I want to do, but it requires a Ferris wheel, and I'm still thinking about it. How that's gonna happen, but that's also limited cast. This I think I ironed out the details of the short. It's 4 locations. One of them requires a Ferris wheel, so wish me luck on that. But I think for short films, keep it simple. Keep it
Oh,
simple. Try not to go. Some shorts can cost up to $20,000. Some can cost up to 10. The last phone call cost me maybe $1,500.
all right. Well, I am glad that you came. You gave so much good information. I really appreciate it. And I
Yeah,
want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
thank
Okay.
you for having me.
All right. Well, again, this was based off characters. I love this guest. I want to get her on for a part two, but I know it's hard to get her because she's in between films. So I really got her at a lucky time. But again, I appreciate it so much. And based off characters podcast, until I speak to you all again, please thank thank this guest on her social media.